Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, the proposed GIPSA rule, what lawmakers in Washington are saying is next. Plus, a group at Kansas State University is bridging the information gap between producers and consumers.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. Good news out of Orlando, Florida, as cattlemen win with a renewed partnership. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association and the Cattlemen's Beef Board are moving forward with a clear focus and commitment to the future while growing beef demand. NCBA Chief Executive Officer Forrest Roberts says the Florida meeting marked a turning point for the beef cattle industry.
What I would love for cattlemen to know is that we have absolutely turned the corner as an industry. As an organization, we've achieved a tremendous breakthrough. An organization that is absolutely on the move, that's NCBA. NCBA is working hard on your behalf each and every day while you're back home at your operations. We're not only burning that boot leather on Capitol Hill representing your interest on the business climate that you need and that freedom to operate, but we're also working hard to implement those plans that move the needle on demand for beef. Everything we're doing, we're focused on how do we have more people enjoy beef more often. That's what NCBA is doing for you and on your behalf, and we certainly appreciate all your support and your engagement with our organization.
The cattle industry meets twice a year to discuss business and participate in educational opportunities. Consider attending. Our next meeting is in Nashville, Tennessee. It's February 1st through the 4th. Check out beefusa.org for more information. In other news, NCBA is encouraged by the Animal Disease Traceability for Cattle Health Rule. Under the proposed rule, most cattle and bison 18 months of age and older moving across state lines would have to be officially identified and accompanied by proper veterinarian documentation. The proposed rule encourages the use of low-cost tracking technology. It also specifies approved forms of official identification, such as metal ear tags for cattle. We have more on that animal traceability ruling in this week's Market Watch.
Market Watch.
Joining us in the studio is Leanne Saunders, president of IMI Global. Thanks for being here, Leanne.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Well, first of all, can you just give us a little bit of an overview of what you read in that new ruling?
Well, first of all, the ruling is 114 pages long, so you and I could converse all day on it and probably not get to the nitty-gritty details. But at a very high level, the proposed rule is the USDA saying, okay, now we're going to put in place a system for animal disease traceback and traceability in this country. So it's a very positive move in the right direction for us to be looking at as a country. At a very basic level, there are two requirements. Cattle moving interstate, so from state to state, have to move with a state-approved method of identification and also with an interstate certificate of veterinary inspection. So those are the basic rules. Now, the classes of cattle that are covered under this rule are cattle that are intact cattle, so 18 months of age and older, so that covers seed stock cattle in the United States, all recreational cattle, so show cattle and rodeo stock cattle, for example, and then 100% of dairy cattle, which is a big deal here in this first phase. Now, the first phase, the definition of that is going to last for a year or until we see 70% compliance. And then what's going to happen is the USDA is going to evaluate everything and look at, following that, proposing a new rule that then covers 100% of cattle movement in the United States.
Well, you clearly study this more than most. What's your sense? I mean, is this a positive move for the U.S. cattle industry?
Absolutely. I think it's a positive move for a number of reasons. First and foremost, when we look at where we're at internationally and compared to our competitors around the world that are supplying the world markets with beef today, we're behind the times. And, you know, it's been an advantage to me being part of the U.S. Meat Export Federation's executive committee and seeing that we keep falling behind. So I definitely think this is a positive move in the right direction for the U.S. just based on the economic advantage that we'll have. Regaining access to certain markets, maintaining access to critical markets that we already have intact.
Very good. And you have a very successful company, obviously specializing in process verification and animal ID and really helping people both create and capture additional value for their cattle. What problems do you see occurring from this new proposed ruling?
You know, I think there are always problems with any system. There's not a perfect system, so I kind of see this as a starting point for us. We have the advantage in the company that we work for that we're working with people that want to do the things that are required for specific export markets. So when you look at animal identification and you look at this rule, I know that in trying to look at what the requirements were or what people wanted to see across the country, they tried to pull that into the rule. But the devil lies in the details. When you're talking about animal identification and the traceability, by being too flexible, my concern is a little bit that we've broadened it too much and that we'll be caught up in reams of documentation and duplicate numbers and systems, as opposed to looking at some of the experience other countries have had and just saying, all right, let's use an EID and move forward. But I understand the reason for going down this road, and I do think it's a start for us.
Well, good. Well, at least it's a step in the right direction, hopefully. Thanks for coming to the show again.
Thanks for having me today, Kevin.
Yes. Learn more about IMI Global and the proposed disease traceability rule at cattlemantocattleman.org. Also a hot topic, the continuing debate over the proposed GIPSA rule. If put into place, the changes to GIPSA would affect the way you can market your cattle. We recently checked in with lawmakers in Washington, D.C. to see what's next in the fight.
You know, fewer things have stirred more passion, not only out in the countryside, but more intensity here in the nation's capital than the GIPSA rule, the livestock marketing rule. Essentially an effort by the United States Department of Agriculture at the highest levels to create policy that in at least 3 farm bills previously that I've been a part of, Congress has said, no, that's not the way to go, that's not the thing to do, we won't do that. Where literally half a dozen court cases have been fought out over these same issues, where the courts have said, no, there's no legal authority, there's no justification, you can't do that. USDA is attempting to do that by rule. Now, we've had hearings at subcommittee and full committee in the House. The Senate has had hearings on this subject, all with the same focus. Slow down, look at what past farm bills have said, consider the court cases. If nothing else, at least do a real peer-reviewed cost-benefit analysis so that we can determine in advance what the net effect will be on producers and processors, and yes, most importantly, consumers. Because if you listen to the testimony, if you listen to the comments from the members at the committee level, and oh yes, the letters that have been signed and circulated among the members here, there's some real concern that in its present form, the proposed GIPSA rule will do more harm than good to everyone involved.
Well, I think the change in the rules is going to harm the people that they think they're trying to help the most. And the smallest producers are going to be shut out of markets because if you can't pay differently for different levels of quality, of availability of cattle to the marketplace on a timely basis, you're going to have, in fact, a case where you could have specialty animals out there that won't bring any more money than the normal livestock cattle or feedlot cattle. And I think there's some niche markets out there that are going to be really affected. And when the buyers come out to fill in their needs, they're not going to go to those small producers anymore. It simply, I think, will hurt the people that these rules are supposed to help the most. I think it's going to put a lot of small people out of business.
Well, we need to resolve the GIPSA rule, and one of the reasons that I placed a high priority on having a livestock hearing early in the Farm Bill process was to give our members an opportunity to express their concerns, and they certainly did loudly to the department and express the fact that we want to get this resolved. And so I'm involved in efforts with the department, with our livestock producers to bring their voice to the table to be able to get this resolved. We want economic impact to be looked at. We want to make sure that this is something that works for all regions of the country, and I'm hopeful that in the end that this is going to be resolved in a way that makes sense.
Join the fight on Capitol Hill today as a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Call us at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us at beefusa.org. Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
The goal at the end of the day is that we don't have problems, and we're very conscious of our customers' success with the cattle that we send out.
A historic Virginia operation is getting positive results with a preconditioning program for calves, plus bridging the gap between beef producers and beef consumers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
When it's time to choose a tractor, look for quality that stands the test of time. Reliability that can carry you through the tough times. Resale value you can bank on down the road. From one brand that's been working the land for more than 170 years, all backed by the finest dealer network around. John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer.
NCBA members may qualify for special discounts of up to $400 on select John Deere hay equipment. See your John Deere dealer for details.
Quality matters to me because our local farmers and ranchers entrust us with the marketing of their livestock each and every week. It's their livelihood and how they provide for their families. Also, friends and families in the community eat at our cafe and watch the auction to be connected with the beef industry. I take great pride in knowing that my livestock auction keeps this community strong and provides our consumers with a great image of the beef they eat. I'm very proud of what we will do here today.
Welcome back. In the cattle marketplace today, cow-calf operations are often looking for an edge to set their calves apart. As Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter reports, one operation in Virginia has found that edge with a branded preconditioning program that's helping them build a brighter future on their cattle farm.
We're a cow-calf operation with a focus on seed stock, providing breeding stock for other commercial producers in this area primarily. We were within just a few miles of some very active Civil War engagements back 150 years ago. The community of Brandy Station lies just to the east of here, about 4 miles, and it was at different stages during the Civil War was very active.
With historic Civil War sites all around him, Tommy Clark is the managing partner for Mystic Hill Farms in Culpeper County, Virginia. The farm and its Angus-based cow herd is located just 70 miles from Washington, D.C., on land that's been in agriculture since the late 1700s. Tommy himself has deep roots in the cattle business.
I grew up here in Culpeper County, and my family's been involved in the cattle business I'm third generation here in Culpeper. We still run some cows on my family's property. I've, I guess, developed an interest in cattle, particularly in cattle breeding at an early age, and have pursued that to this day and aspire to continue.
Tommy and his team manage a spring and a fall calving season and sell both commercial calves and top-quality Angus seed stock. So he knows what it takes to deliver healthy, high-quality calves year after year.
Mystic Hill has it going on. I mean, one of the things that we've learned talking to Mystic Hill over the past couple of days has been that with their preconditioning program, they're getting good health of their calves through their seed stock, also through their calves that they're moving on to different facilities. So whether they're selling breeding stock or whether they're selling them for feed yards that are going to end up on someone's dinner plate, the health of those cattle is good all the way through the different feeding phases.
We believe in keeping immunization on initially the cow herd, which is before the calf hits the ground, so that those mothers can pass on antibodies through their colostrum, etc. One of the things that we do probably early with our calving seasons is we try not to commingle more than 21 days worth of calves in one pasture during the first couple of months of their life.
Preconditioning programs is, in my own words, is a way to prepare calves for future diseases that they may face as they go through the different growing stages. And if we can precondition them, vaccinate them so that they're pre-exposed to that disease, so that when they face that disease later on in life, it's not such a big challenge. Their immune system recognizes it and can take care of it in a lot easier manner.
In preconditioning his calves, Tommy takes advantage of the Range Ready program from Boehringer Ingelheim Vet Medica Incorporated. Range Ready is a branded, verified program that helps producers deliver healthier, high-performing calves.
I think that a proper vaccination program such as Range Ready will give the producer and the cattle an advantage in terms of being prepared for what they may be challenged with, particularly when they become commingled with other cattle at a different feed yard or at a calf pool or something of that nature.
I think the biggest advantage of the Range Ready Health Program right now is it's all in one package. We can offer just about anything that they need, vaccine-wise, dewormer-wise, whatever they need, we've got that in the package. And it's just a matter of implementation and talking to these guys and getting it in their system so that we can take advantage of it.
As it's evolved, we have certainly seen some advantages, and obviously now that Cydectin is part of that program, I feel like that's been a step forward or in the right direction. And particularly this past spring sale, using the Alpha 7 now with MB as a added protection for pink eye. That again is something that is another step of progress. The goal at the end of the day is that we don't have problems, and we're very conscious of our customers' success with the cattle that we send out.
We'll have more on the importance of a branded preconditioning program when we return.
In that ring, buyers have an eye out for healthy, verified calves. Range Ready puts a document in hand, like a medical file for each animal, that lets buyers know what they're getting, and most importantly, what they're not. So, go on thinking your word carries all the weight. But in the sale barn, your proof is on this paper. Go on now. Take care of your cattle, and they'll take care of you.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member. NCBA is my eyes and ears, and most importantly my voice, because I can't be on Capitol Hill all the time. But my membership through NCBA has people that are there that know what my concerns are and can inform me when those issues come up that are affecting my day-to-day operations and can take actions on those appropriately.
I'm an NCBA member.
I'm an NCBA member because I believe that this organization is determined to preserve the way of life that those of us growing up in the cattle industry have grown to love.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
Join me today.
Welcome back. Let's return to reporter Brian Baxter in Virginia, where a local operation is getting positive results from a preconditioning program.
Using a lineup of proven products such as Alpha, Express FP, and Cydectin, producers can turn to the Range Ready program for reliable health protocols. And for cattle enrolled in the Range Ready breeding stock program, Boehringer Ingelheim provides a 6-month limited health guarantee.
And what that simply is if you follow the program and the protocol and vaccinate according to the Boehringer program, they will warranty the health on the cattle that come out of that program once they're in the hands of the new customer for a period of up to 6 months after that last vaccination. And so we have participated. Upcoming this fall will be our 5th sale that we have offered the Range Ready program. And what it does for me is a couple of things. And one is it gives me a comfort level that if Boehringer is willing to back this program, that I feel pretty good that it is worth my consideration and time. And it also helps me convey a level of comfort that I have with the program to my customer when they buy a bull and take it on to their operation from our program.
Because they're already using the breeding stock program and they're used to what we offer as far as vaccines on the Beringer Ingelheim side, it's such a nice fit for Mr. Kiel to continue into the feeder stock program as well. They're familiar with the products, they're very familiar with how the products work, the guarantees that are behind the products. So it's just a nice fit, and it's just going to be such a nice angle to go on right in with the feeder calf program.
Mystic Hills uses the range-ready breeding stock program as a marketing edge in their sale catalog, and research has shown an average net return from preconditioning calves of just over $25 per head.
I feel like that, first of all, anything that can improve survival rate or protect us from some lost performance certainly helps. And anytime that you can prevent rather than treat something, that's certainly a positive on the bottom dollar. And then when my customers, whether they buy replacement heifers or bulls from us, when they have a positive experience, I feel like that it's a lot easier for me to keep the customers I have than go out and find new ones. So that's also a plus to the bottom line.
Dr. Wade doesn't just recommend the Range Ready program to his customers, he also uses the program with his own calves.
There's no doubt about it. It definitely pays. When we got ready to sell our cattle this year, and they knew that they were range ready calves, we were able to procure at least another dime off of the sale of those calves, and that was a nice positive for our calf herd as we sold this year. So it's a definite positive. That don't always happen, but we have seen some advantages, especially in the money in the pocket wise.
I would not want to abandon the Range Ready program. I would have to say that even if we did not have the partnership with ensuring the health of the animals, I still would want to have that same confidence myself that that's the type of product that I was providing.
Reporting from Virginia, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
To find out more about preconditioning and the Range Ready program, visit your veterinarian or your local Beringer Ingelheim Vet Medic Incorporated animal health representative, or simply visit online www.rangeready.com. You can also check out this segment at cattlemantocattleman.org. We'll be right back.
Comprehensive, practical, powerful. Now's the time to put the power of DNA to work in your herd with the comprehensive Identity Profile. The inside information from Identity can help you make more confident replacement heifer and herd sire selection decisions, add marketability to your feeder cattle, make faster genetic progress, and more. The best time to get started is when you're already working cattle, during branding, weaning, or bull soundness exams. Get started today. Visit iGenity.com or call 1-877-IGENITY to put the power of DNA to work in your herd.
You take pride in the beef you raise. Countless hours invested to assure a safe and wholesome calf crop. Why trust that calf crop to just anyone? Experience the new Dinklage difference with a long history and reputation for outstanding performance and cattle care. We use a combination of cutting-edge technologies and data-driven decision-making to establish our place as leaders in the cattle feeding industry. Allow Dinklage to be a part of your team in the quest to maximize your profits. With 5 locations to serve you in Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado. For more information on the new Dinklage difference, stop by one of our yards or visit us on the web at dinklagefeedyards.com.
Welcome back. Today's consumer is bombarded by information, sometimes misleading information, about beef and the cattle industry. But a group of current and former agricultural students at Kansas State University is using the new media to bridge the growing information gap between producers and consumers. Cattleman to Cattleman's Brad Bulla has more.
In a basement office at Kansas State University, a group of young people are working on their blog called Food for Thought. It began after a discussion about the disconnect between Americans who produce food and those who consume it.
I know that my neighbor down the road does a great job of producing food, is a great farmer. I know that the guy up the road does a wonderful job of caring for his cattle and producing beef for the meat case. The person in the grocery store doesn't necessarily know that. They want to know that, and that's what we're running into in recent years. People want to know.
I think the disconnect exists because fewer and fewer people are producing the food that a large population consumes. We're really lucky in America. We have an abundant food supply. Food is cheap compared to other countries, and that's very fortunate. I think the disconnect exists because we're getting a lot more urban consumers. We're getting further removed from the farm. I think that our blog does a really good job of addressing that, and I've found that we can address it very simply.
Food for Thought features first-hand stories and videos from producers who explain their work. But it also aims to shoot down the many misconceptions consumers have about their food and where it comes from.
I don't necessarily want to just teach people. I want to connect with them. I want them to see that there is a face to American agriculture, that we are people just like them that care greatly about animals, that choose to be in the professions that we choose to be in, because we want to take good care of our land and our animals and provide food for people. I think that personal connection is what I hope to make more than anything else.
Food for Thought invites consumers to talk directly to industry experts about the issues that affect them. It also builds a relationship with consumers through regional outreach programs.
And so we do that by, bringing consumers to the farms, whether that be, through Facebook and Twitter and our blog, but then also, giving them tours of farms. We've had producers that want to jump on board that'll be a host to their farm and open up their homes and their operations and give tours and talk to those consumers. And then we also have the opportunity to bring producers to the consumers. So by doing this, we can go into grocery stores and supermarkets, and we can sit at the meat counter, and we can, be there to answer questions if they have about different cuts of meat, or how to safely prepare meat or produce, which is a great aspect.
Since its launch in the spring of 2010, Food for Thought has had over 12,000 visitors. The young volunteers who run the blog say they're amazed at the connections they've made with everyday consumers.
I have a vegan mother from New York. She's a mother of 4, and we correspond email now because she started reading our blog. I don't know if I'm going to change her mind, but I'm talking to her, and that makes a difference, I think. She provides food and makes food choices for 4 consumers and her husband, so 5 consumers. And it's very exciting to converse with her. She has questions when E. coli breaks out in the UK. She has a question about that. I can get her information, or I can get her with people who can get her the correct information, rather than her Googling it and maybe taking something that's not true.
My generation is a huge group of that social media users, but the more than half, 51% of Americans over the age of 18 have a Facebook account. To me, that makes it clear that it is not just a younger generation thing, it is reaching a larger group than that. So I think that it is in some ways exclusively how the younger generation gets their news. I don't have very many friends that get a hard copy newspaper anymore. They almost always go online for it. But I think their older generations are adopting and incorporating this sort of social media into their lives as well.
For us to see that we're getting people from New York City to read our blog is really wonderful. That makes one person reading our blog from New York City, that this is reaching out there, but we probably know that they don't have any agriculture experience whatsoever, right? And so that's our goal. We've reached our goal, and that makes it worth it to us.
I'd really like to see the blog grow in the amount of authors that we have. We have a lot of Kansas State young alumni and students. I'd like to see, there's no reason that I can't have a student from Michigan call me up tomorrow and say, I'd love to post on your blog. As long as they're meeting our guidelines and staying with our mission and our goal, it would be very exciting to have different viewpoints added to it. So I think that will be easier as we all build those connections with different advocates across the country in different commodity groups. And I would like to see us really branch out and get agriculture represented through our authors.
Reporting from Manhattan, Kansas, I'm Brad Bulla for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
The Food for Thought website receives some funding from private and academic grants, but is staffed by volunteers. To find out more, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. And we'll be right back.
Try it for 60 days and let's see the difference it'll make in your animal.
You have an all-in-one feed, it makes all the difference in the world.
It's been a very good product for us.
My chickens are really great layers, and I think that's because of how I feed them.
They look more complete, they fill out really well.
You get exceptional gain, you get exceptional growth.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
Take the 60-day challenge and save up to $55 on Purina feed. Sign up at purinadifference.com.
Advanced engine in its class, 50 horsepower, dual overhead cams, and fierce acceleration, the Gator XUV 825i will shatter your expectations.
Welcome back. As every rancher knows, one of the keys to better cattle is better breeding. But even the best bred herd needs sustained nutrition to keep it healthy and profitable. Reporter Matt Fleck looks at how a customized Purina Mills program provides an extra edge for one producer in northern Colorado.
Lee Leachman's family has been in the seed stock business since the 1930s, primarily selling commercial bulls to ranchers across the Rockies and High Plains. One of the things that has kept the operation growing and prospering over the decades, he says, is a focus on science and data, researching and pinpointing the best possible traits in cattle to help out his operations bottom line.
I think the biggest challenge for our customers is sustainability really is profitability. If people are sustainable, they're going to thrive if they're profitable. If they're not profitable, they're going to go out of business. And more than that, I think many ranchers want to pass their operation on to the next generation. And the next generation wants to receive return on investment. And so how do we do that? We make the genetics better. And that's what we try to do, and that's kind of what our passion is.
Leachman says one of the main issues has always been how to raise high-quality cattle with few natural resources.
You're trying to take the lowest quality land in the region and convert it into beef, okay? If it was good quality land, they would be raising crops on it right now, okay? And so this pasture we're in today is native pasture. The cows come here about the 1st of May, and will stay here until we're able to go to corn stalks in the winter. And then we'll utilize the cheapest feed available in this region, which is corn stalks, basically from the 15th of November to the 15th of March. And so we try to keep these cows on grass throughout the year, and our philosophy has always been, let's try to strategically supplement those cows with supplement that's going to basically complement the forage and maximize their performance on that forage base.
Leachman's operation uses Purina's AccuRation program to supply a continuous and cost-efficient source of the necessary nutrients to his animals, while allowing them to stay in pasture.
Basically, these cows are consuming a lot of old grass and the nutrient level's not quite dense enough to prepare these cows. If we were a commercial operation, we'd be calving later, we'd wait for green grass, but because we're a seed stock operation, we want to calve in February, we want to sell those bulls as yearlings in March, and so as a result, we're calving a little earlier and we're using the AccuRation. It allows us to supplement the cows without bunching them. They're still able to spread out and graze the grass throughout the season, and in addition to that, we have no labor involved in putting out that feed each day, nor fuel consumed to deliver feed out into the pasture.
AccuRation is a self-fed product. Bob Pemberton from Northern Feed and Bean in Lucerne, Colorado, says it helps the entire herd get the nutrition they need.
What you see with a self-feeder is that you get that timid cow to be up there eating just as much as you would the boss cow. The boss cow can leave, that timid cow or bull or whatever can go up there and eat when it so desires, and it'll even out a herd. It'll even out the condition of that herd. It'll take that bossy cow and she'll be in good condition, but it'll take that thinner cow, that more timid cow, and it'll make her look just as good as that boss cow. They'll eat according to what they need, but they'll eat when they can eat too. You just don't have them all up there eating at one time on a self-feeder. You just never see it. They're out spread around, whether it's bulls, cows, heifers, whatever you're trying to develop. And that's where AccuRation and self-feeder come into play.
When we put the self-feeder out, that the cattle limiters in the AccuRation create a snack eating behavior, and what that allows the cattle to do is bring come up and take multiple snacks throughout the day, and that gives us a really consistent rumen environment that'll allow us to get the most most efficient digestion out of our forage base, whether it's pasture, corn stalks, or what have you.
We'll have more from Northern Colorado when we return.
These days, more cattlemen choose Draxxin to fight BRD than any other brand. Here's why.
It works. We have fewer repulls, and the ones that we do repull respond, and we have fewer chronics in the end.
To retreat anything it's a lot more expensive than using Draxxin as a first time.
And the evidence backs up what most cattlemen already know. Draxxin cuts retreats by 50%. So talk to your veterinarian and check the online calculator at Draxxin.com. You'll see why Draxxin should be your first choice to fight BRD.
Basically what it's allowed us to do with our operation is run more cattle through in a given period of time. It's just really been a good product to use.
Do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older. Do not use in calves to be processed for veal. Draxxin has a pre-slaughter withdrawal time of 18 days. Please visit Draxxin.com or call 1-888-DRAXXIN for more information.
Welcome back. Let's return now to Northern Colorado, where one producer has found a competitive edge from a customized Purina Mills nutrition program.
Kevin Lavelle, the area Purina cattle specialist who works with Leachman, says every producer has specific needs, something Purina takes into account when they fit the AccuRation program to the producer's operation.
So part of that would include possibly taking forage samples from their pasture or from their hay or what have you. But yeah, that's part of the service side of what we do, is to try to get the best fit and match in the program for the particular operator that we're working with.
We're happy with the quality of the product. We're extremely happy with the service that we get from our dealer here in Colorado, and that makes a huge difference, both in their responsiveness to helping us get the right product and also getting that product at a timely basis, and that's really important for us.
Having good products is also important to Leachman, which is why he relies on the Purina name for feeding programs in which he can have confidence for quality, performance, potential.
Just about any product you go buy today makes claims about its efficacy. I think far too few of those products are ever tested. We tend to buy genetics from people that test. We tend to buy animal health products from people that test. We tend to buy feed products from people that test. And that's one of the reasons we like the Purina products, because they have been validated.
Lee Leachman says the AccuRation program has particularly helped his bulls by allowing them to graze more while supporting soundness and longevity.
And then we'll prepare those bulls. Basically, they'll be for sale at 18 to 20 months of age, and they'll only have spent a couple months of their life in confinement. And we've actually taught those bulls how to graze, so when they go to our customers report those bulls hold up really well. They've learned how to graze, they've been hardened, they're older. It really is a really sound product, and I think in the long run that older bull is sounder and more durable and will breed more cows, and as a result our customers have really responded positively to that product. You know, one of the neat things is we ran these bulls on this same pasture or cornstalk conditions. We ran these bulls on cornstalks last year and supplemented them with wet distillers grains. This year we switched to the AccuRation, and we went from virtually no gain to gaining over a pound a day on that winter pasture or on those corn stalks. And so that's a tremendous advantage to us. That's 100 more pounds we don't have to put on those bulls throughout the rest of the season. That lets them come into the gain test in better condition, go on to grass in better condition, and we did that for basically the same cost. So it was very cost effective.
Kevin Lavelle says he has a lot of respect for what Lee has accomplished on his seed stock operation.
If you listen to Lee consistently, you're going to hear efficiency is his main guiding point, if you will, from all facets of his operation. But in our case, it's particularly on the nutrition side. And as a company, we are really focusing, and we always have focused, but it's becoming more apparent that efficiency is going to be the driving force in the cattle industry to come. So I think between what we do as a company on the nutrition side and what Lee is doing as a bull producer, I think that our commonality in looking at efficiency, it's a nice dovetail together, and I think it helps us work good together.
Reporting from Wellington, Colorado, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
For more information about Purina's products, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
From California to Florida, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman covers the beef industry. Each week, join host Kevin Oxner as he interviews industry leaders about the topics that matter most to you.
When we think about that impact in our industry, it starts with looking at that picture of beef demand.
NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, a television show by cattlemen for cattlemen, Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on RFD TV or anytime at cattlemantocattleman.org.
Education, networking, opportunity, and fun. That's what you'll find at the 2012 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee. Get your ticket to ride with your fellow cattlemen and women in the country music capital of the world. You'll find cutting-edge education, top-of-the-line technology, and entertainment that can't be beat. Don't miss your ticket to ride to the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee, February 1st through the 4th, 2012. For more information, visit beefusa.org.
Seasons change, but year in, year out, year round, it's Crystal-X season. With specific supplements for weaning stress in fall. Protein for pre-calving in winter. Calving in spring. And minerals and fly control in summer. For low-cost per-head, per-day supplements, every season is Crystal-X season.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
Once upon a time,
start of all creation, angels sat upon a cloud, an odd conglomeration of buckaroos from near and far, but not there from the city. Their job? To build a brand new beast. They were the Cow Committee. Now me, I'd like some floppy ears, suggested Texas Jake. Well, floppy ears would freeze plumb off on the powder of the snake. Up north we need some curly hair, said Colorado Bill. Hide that's tight and hair that's thick to ward against the chill. Hold your horses, one and all, said Omaha Eugene. Nebraska needs a fleshy cow, a real corn machine. Or she'd waste away, cried Tucson Bob. What we need's a hump, one who'll live on tumbleweeds and run from clump to clump. Well, how about horns, said Oakdale Pete. Don't need 'em in Des Moines. So they made some with, and some without, and some with tenderloins, and some with sheaths that drag the grass, and some so dadgum tall, to hear her calf down on the ground, she'd have to place a call. I'd like 'em roan, said Shorthorn Mike. No, black, said Angus Tink. White or red, said Hereford Hank. I'd even take 'em pink. Whatever suits you, ticos me, said Juan from Mexico. I second that, said Crossbred Jack. Just make 'em so they grow. So they made some white, and they made some blue, and they made some orange and spotted. They never made a green one, but they made 'em tall and squatted in every shape and every size, but no one had decided how to make the perfect cow. On that, they were divided. And this went on for days and days. In fact, it never ended. Each time they'd reach some middle ground, the project was amended, and they still meet from time to time and argue with their leaders. The Cow Committee carries on. They're now the purebred breeders. This is Baxter Black from out there.
That's one of my favorites. Thanks, Baxter. And we'll be right back.
Tough trailers built for tough country. Big Ben Trailers manufactures a different kind of trailer, one that's built to put up with the rough conditions found on the ranch. Rugged build using heavy gauge powder coated steel and a 2x4 rectangle tube frame. There's a 1-inch gap between the side and floor, so there's no place for water or manure to accumulate and rust. Big Ben trailers are loaded with standard features: a lever action hitch, a 3-foot escape gate and a middle sorting gate, rhino lining along the front edges, and a receiver hitch to tow another trailer, chute, or other equipment. Tough and practical. That's Big Ben Trailers. Designed and built by a working cattleman, you can rely on and trust Big Ben Trailers for their durability and convenient features. Reasonably priced for any rancher to afford. For a list of dealers and other design features, visit BigBenTrailers.com. Big Ben Trailers, built cattleman tough.
Quality matters to me because I love my family. I want to raise my family here like generations before me. My family has always worked together and played together. We have always laughed together and cried together. My family is my life. Careful stewardship of the animals and resources that are under my care benefits my family. They live where I work and eat the same food that I produce. I'm proud of what we'll do here today.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at this week's legacy photos from around the country. Keep sending us those great photos. To do so, check us out at cattleman2cattleman.org or on Facebook by searching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Next week, an operation honored for its environmental practices, plus a colonial Maryland farm and the week's news and market headlines. Thanks so much for joining us for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. We'll see you right back here next week on RFD TV.